to welcome you to tonight's edition of Bible Study. Thank you for joining me. I am Regina L. Stillman, otherwise known as the Spiritual Thought Leader, and I'm so glad that you joined me on this fine day. Listen, it's a beautiful day. It's been busy. It is, let's see, the weather is probably one of the top topics here in Kansas City right now because we were in 70s, 80s, and near about 90s on yesterday. Woke up this morning, it was warm but windy. And as the day has progressed, it has gotten progressively colder, and the wind just has taken over and deteriorated. And now we've had precip since this morning as it's getting cold, and they're predicting by the end of the day we're going to have a grand finale of snow. So, it is just, we've had all four seasons in a day. And it's just been one of those kind of days. But yet and still, this is the day the Lord has made. And we are rejoicing in it, and we are glad. Tonight, we have Dr. Dady Priest. Yes, the high priestess is with us. And I am so glad that you are here. Dr. Dady is a powerful streamer. As I shared with you on yesterday, if you all had an opportunity to go over and be with her, she is bringing so much good into the people. And Dr. Dady, we appreciate you here in the Lion's Den. We appreciate you for what you bring here, but we also appreciate what you bring. Engagement matters. If you didn't know it, I hope you do now. Engagement matters, will bless your whole life, and we love you. We absolutely, positively do. Cassandra Isaiah has come in this evening, and there's nothing but love to you, sis. That's my sister from Oklahoma, and I love you so, so very much. Thank you for coming in, and you're always a blessing in this house. DJ Rock and Ron, yes, snow, if you can believe that. We went from, I'm telling you, when I say 70s, 80s, and 90s, and then we saw massive deterioration and the precip, and I probably would say the biggest thing was the wind, because I did quite a bit of running around earlier this morning, and a little bit this afternoon, but not nearly as much. But when I tell you that wind was almost like it was going to just absolutely blow us off the road, it was unbelievable. Truck driver came and represented for the Lions. Come on, Dr. Day. That's my truck. That's my guy. I'm so glad that he did. I love him. That man, I'm telling you, there's nobody like my brother. He's my brother. He's my friend. He's my Mufasa. Love that man. I absolutely positively do. And I know he represented well. I know he represented well. I want to just kind of start tonight. We yesterday were wrapping up with the idea that Moses had met his time of demise, and we were transitioning from Moses to Joshua. And so tonight, I'm going to once more, and again, I know many of you are using the Tyndale, but I am predominantly emphasizing the Reese's chronological, which both of them are excellent. Both of them are excellent. And the goal here is to read through the Bible in its entirety from Genesis to Revelations, which again is an area that a lot of times people do not do. It amazes me, even to the extent that sometimes you'll have people that will almost fight you to the death about the Bible. And then, as a Bible reader, Bible scholar, Bible studier, I will often, in those real hot, heated debates, I will digress for a second and just ask, have you read the Bible from cover to cover? The stare, the blankness, the look in the eyes that you don't have to open your mouth and say a word. Even if you lie and say you have, I can tell you didn't. And even to the extent that sometimes I know you didn't. And listen, DJ Rock and Ron, those eyes, those eyes tell the whole story, Dr. Dady. I'm trying to tell you. And it just amazes me that people will argue and fight to the death something they've not even read. One reason the Bishop of Twitch is in the room tonight. So much love to you. And you all know how I feel about One Reason and DJ Rock and Ron. These are both my brothers. One Reason is the Bishop of Twitch. And they're doing such a powerful job out here getting their ministry, getting the word out, getting their love, getting their hearts out there in the street. And I just love them. So much love to you, and peace be multiplied. Again, I'm just amazed at how many people will fight you to the death about the Bible and they haven't read it. Because again, I always like to address the fact, the whole entire story. They listen. I read one chapter and I know the book, and sometimes I would say DJ Rock and Ron. Some of them are challenged if they even read one chapter. But they will fight you tooth and nail, and they have not read the whole entire story. And that never ceases to amaze me. And that includes preachers. That includes preachers. That's not just your laity. But I'm amazed at how many people in ministry, hey, Dalen, the spirit of hubris. You know, sis, you know. And I often say, how can you fight and defend something you've never read? Just explain it to me, Lucy. Explain it to me. How can you fight and defend and get mad and listen, the insider, they will fight and defend and go to the death, tooth and nail, toe to toe with you and argue you to the death, and they haven't read the whole book. It amazes me. It absolutely stuns me. But this is I'm going to say, the history of Bible readers is that more times than not, we haven't read it. We may read bits and pieces, a little bit here and a little bit there. There's my Dalen with her favorite word, hubris. And it never ceases to amaze me. And even to the extent I appreciated my brother Truck when we were talking about Zelophehad's daughters and how that story is so widely unknown. And it's right there just as plain as day in the Old Testament, as folks want to say, not the New Covenant, but in the Old Covenant. The Lord made it ever wit clear that as Moses received the word from the Lord, they spoke well. And his daughters were entitled to inheritance just as much as a son would have been. Females were entitled just as much as males were. And when he told them they speak the truth, and how we still have this argument yet today, it's amazing to me. But it says to me that people are not well read, especially when it comes to the Bible. With that, I want to add, let's read more than just the Bible. Can we, I have all along been, and I'm not even necessarily saying going outside of the Christian realm, but, I've been talking the whole time. Get some Bible helps. We talked about the feasts of the Bible there, and it lists all the feasts with all the information about it, which is a lot of what tonight, even the reading there, it's going back and it's recounting much of the historical elements of what the children of Israel had been through. I said, get you the Bible maps. It'll help you to know the lands as they were then and what those lands are today. Expand your knowledge and expand what you know. Use more than just the 66 books, the 12 disciples. We've talked about all these different elements of aspects that you can bring in, because a lot of times you may not know the personal history of the 12 disciples. And I know a lot of people who do not. If you said which ones were crucified, which ones died a natural death, which ones were killed, which ones were martyred, people look at you again, deer in headlight, because they have no clue. The 12 tribes, we want to do so much talking about the 12 tribes and all the blessings and the blessings of Abraham and all that we are entitled to. The 12 tribes of Israel gives a very in-depth study, and not only the tribes, but even how they fit in the breastplate. And then speaking of the breastplate of the high priest and the stones that accompanied them, the tabernacle, so much that we can read additionally. And those are just the little handouts that I suggested that you might pick up for our reading as we go through right now. But please, if you don't do anything else, read the whole entire story. So that's what we're doing here from Genesis to Revelations. And we're encouraging and inviting people. If you haven't done it before, it's been a long time since you've done it. Join us at 6 o'clock every evening, and we're going over it. I hit the highlights, but you have all the scriptures that are to be read. Now, I'm going to go over in today's reading from Reese's Chronological, and I know Dr. Dady's doing Tyndale. I don't know who has Do I have my Tyndall? I think is on my nightstand, and I do read through all of them. I am more emphasizing the Reese's chronological. Now, I didn't read the Tyndall today, so I need to snatch that up and see where you guys are on today. But as you see here, if you look at today's date, which is at the very, very top of the screen, Psalms summing up the previous history. That's where Reese's chronological takes you. And I do enjoy the fact that he pulls out not only, and I would say this is probably the biggest difference between Tyndall. Tyndall stays more to the course of whatever book it's in. Reese's will go out and grab different passages and scriptures from all different areas and locations and compile them together into one. Uh, Tyndall's does that a little bit, not quite as much as the Reese's does. Reese's tonight focuses on, before we go into Joshua and them going over into Canaan to fight. Psalms summing up the previous history in Psalms 78:12 to 66. Then we have Psalms 105 verses 16 to 45. Psalms 106 verses 1 to 33. Psalms 135 and 1, 1 verses 1 through 20. So 135 verses 1 through 20. So we see all of these different aspects and elements of where it's not only just recanted in those five books of Moses, as we would call them, even though there's a lot of arguing debate about that. So definitely when you get to Deuteronomy, there's a lot of debate about who wrote the book of Deuteronomy, and many do not believe that it was Moses. Nonetheless, those are the five that are attributed to him. And at the end of the day, we see echoes of the Jewish tradition that is told and retold. With that, I want to say, and I'm going to go tonight, I'm using Psalm 78, verses 12 through 66. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to put it up on the screen tonight because my system did not want to pull up my Bible doc, so I won't be able to flash it up on the screen, but I will share my screen with you, and you can see what I'm talking about. But, basically, the Psalms and the psalmist, and those are songs, that's what Psalms means. Those are songs that were written, and they were told and retold at various points in time in history. Now, I want to say this, particularly to people of color and Black people especially. There was a day and time when we used to have oral tradition of our history. And unfortunately, that is a time that has died out with us. And I feel like we have lost so much. We see where in Moses's time, he was giving the accounting. And let me jump back because I want to get into the year, if I might. So let me get to my Reese's. We're talking about in 1423 BC, 1422. Then we see later on, centuries later, we see them still retelling the story. So I want to just kind of stop, and I am going to go, as I said, to the 78th division of Psalms. Psalms is not in chapters. I don't get, nitpicky about it. But if you really deal with somebody that is a Bible scholar and they hear the good deacon or the good mother or the good preacher get up and say, I'm going to read from the 78th chapter of Psalms, the Psalms are not in chapters. As a matter of fact, the Psalm has 5 different separate total books. And then within that, you'll find the divisions. So if we go to Psalms, the 78th division, and begin to read from the 12th to the 29th verse would be where we are taking the scripture from on tonight. But what and so you can go there if you'd like to. Psalms 78 verses 12 through 29, and I'll share my screen with you so you can see. Because I can't, once again, my apologies. I can't pull up my Bible doc is not working today. So I'm just going to show you here. And this is the NIV version. So if you look at really what I want to identify, and I'm just letting that sit there for a minute for anybody that wants to write that information down, if you want to look it up and go along with me as I go. Now, what I want to emphasize, though, is this: the oral tradition as well as the written tradition. I would that even if we start now, and let me tell you, in this season when everything about Black people and people of color, if it were at all possible in 2025, every piece of our history would be erased. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? If it would be possible, every iota, every jot, every tittle, every period, every dot, every listen, if it were at all possible, every essence of our history would be erased if it could be done. And this is the space and place that I want to say, even in regard to the scriptures. The beauty that they had was the written and or the oral tradition. And so much, and you can even find during the time of the carrying away into Babylon, the children of Israel, you find that Chaldean and the Hebrew language and the writings became obsolete, and it became a dead and a lost language. And I'm saying this for a reason. For us, Black people, my concern would be that just like the carrying away into Babylon, and Babylon means confusion, if it were possible, we could and would become a dead history language and everything else. Because y'all know we have our own language, we have our own dialect, we have our own way of speaking, we have our own code, we have our own code switch. If it were possible, we would lose almost all of that because, and this is why I say, because just like what we've seen in history, and history always repeats itself, when you are not retelling your history to your generations and descendants, it can be easily lost. It can be easily forgotten. It can become easily unknown. And so, as we see from Moses all the way up to the Psalms, they're still retelling stories. They're still recounting, and they're still, the oral tradition is just very much alive. I wish that we would embrace the idea of the oral tradition. I think that's one of the powerful things that we did. And those of you, some of you may remember when we were doing Good Grief and Crazy Berry Town, and Kim Possible, 7-Eleven, and myself were doing that segment in the Lion's Den. One of the things that we did was speak their name, whoever your loved one was, and I speak your name, so that there is not the loss of that person and the life that they lived and the remembrances of who they are. That's why so many want to erase our history. They are jealous of the richness. Absolutely, DJ Rock and Ron. And this is what I'll say. Have we lost and erased our history from our own selves? When I listen to some of the young people, come on, truck driver, when I listen to some of the young people talk, and this is no negativity towards them at all, because really, I'm going to say the brunt of the responsibility falls to us that we have not effectively told our history to our own children. Hello. Don't worry about them taking it out of the history books. Don't worry about that. The same thing I said about, oh, they took prayer out of schools. What are you worried about prayer out of schools if you pray at home? Explain it to me, Lucy. If you pray at home, why do you care if they took prayer out of schools? Because that's probably the only time your child prayed, other than when they sat down to say their God is great, God is good, let us thank him for the food, amen, blessing over their food. And now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Those are probably the only two prayers that your children prayed, if they prayed those. But you got mad because they took prayer out of schools. But what difference does it make if you pray in the home? Please explain it to me. And I say the same thing about, if we are telling our own history to our generations, it cannot be erased. But if they take it out of the history books, if they erase, I'm talking in here, Flirt. If come on, Dr. Dady, if they take it out of the history books, if they take what little bit is in there, because half the history books didn't tell our history anyhow. They told a version of what they wanted to say our history was, and it wasn't accurate. But if they take all of the historical data and whatnot that they have out there, and we have not retold the story, that's why it's a problem. We cannot put it on our young people. Child, they don't know we went through this, that, and the third, so we could have this life that. Why didn't you tell them? Why didn't you recount what we did and the greatness of our people and the genius of our people and the power of our people and how we, in the midst of adversity, always came out on top, no matter how they tried to kill us, destroy us, hold us down, talk bad about. Baby, if we told our own history, there would not be an issue. Matter of fact, if we told our own history, we would be in a totally different position today than where we are right now. But because we have so many people that do not know our own history, and that includes my generation, that do not know, truck driver, our history. Come on here, Dr. Dady. Oral history keeps families informed and equipped. You'd be surprised. Now, y'all know I'm telling the truth. I have asked young people questions about their immediate family. Deer in headlights. Don't know names, don't know birthdays, don't know anything other than nicknames. I have no problem with nickname, but Uncle Billy Bob had a real name. And sometimes Uncle Billy Bob's actual name may have been Junivis. Something totally unrelated. And we start calling him Uncle Billy Bob and never know. Come on, Dr. Dady. Nothing anywhere near related. And at the end of the day, they don't know anything but Uncle Billy Bob. May not even know Uncle Billy Bob's last name. I'm talking real talk in here. And then when you start to ask and inquire any kind of history, any historical aspects. Who's your grandmother? I don't know. Who's your grandfather? I don't know. Where were they born? Where did they live? Where did they die? Clueless. Dalen, I got my daughter Psalms of My People by Lenny Duncan. The book explores how hip hop can be used to tell a story of Black liberation through the lens of the Psalms. Come on here, Dalen. I love it. Give them every tool that they can, and many of those tools are going to be outside of the 66. But what I'm trying to, come on, Cassandra, I'm telling the truth. Dr. Dady, y'all know I'm telling the truth. What I'm trying to get us to understand is the power that by the time we get to Psalms 78, they are going back and they are retelling the story. They're going back and they're saying it and they're speaking it over and over and over and over. Why? Because that oral tradition keeps the life of the history of the people. And why? We'll sit down and read, and I'm going to say this for all my Bible thumping people, and especially out of the Black community. Again, the Bible is a historical recounting of the Jewish people and people of Jewish descent. You get so caught up in the Jewish and the Palestinian history and record, but you know nothing about Black history. Houston, there is a problem. You know everything there is, Genesis to Revelations, but you know nothing about people of color and Black people. And I think that's a tragedy. And why we cannot, if anything else, learn that the same way they kept their history alive through oral traditions, through writing it down. I love the idea that Dalen presents that, hey, if hip hop is an effective tool, let's tell our story through hip hop. It doesn't have to be Shall We Gather at the River and all the other hymns of 1805. If they can get an understanding of who we are and how we got here, somebody needs to explain, how did we get here? How did we get here? When we can speak confidently about our lineage, we don't listen to other folks come revisionist foolery and baby revised. A huge problem, Houston. It's sad with the technology of the smartphone. Most people don't even have photo albums anymore to have a visual history. Come on here and talk to me, Dalen. You can take a picture and say, who is this? In the same lifetime, and the babies don't know. They're clueless. I'm talking here today, and I'm still in the book. We in Genesis to Revelation, because basically, as you go back and look, and I'm going to share the screen so you can see what he said. He did miracles in the sight of the ancestors, talking about Moses in the land of Egypt, in the region of Zone. He divided the sea and led them through. He made the waters. The same way they do all this talking about Moses and the exploits that he did. Do we not understand that we also have the ability to tell the exploits that we've done, and we really need to know the exploits that happen in this century, not just the exploits of somebody else's culture, somebody else's time, somebody else's history, but you will not embrace the idea that you need to recant and retell, talk about listen, we've had giants in the land. We've had giants in the midst. We've had giants in our families. We've had giants. And we say crickets. And not Deborah Cox's version, how you get here. Come on, flirt. I want us to understand there's so much richness here. And I would almost, I'm gonna go back because again, for those that came late, my my Bible doc is not working. So I'm gonna have to switch back and forth between my screen share if you don't have these scriptures pulled up. I'm in Psalm 78 verses 12 to 29. And the other scriptures are also out of the Psalms. The point that I'm making, out of all of those different stories in the Psalms, they're all oral and written history and tradition of their people. And I'm saying my takeaway tonight, especially in this hour, especially in this millennium, especially under this administration, we ought to be taking a page out of the Bible, and we need to be retelling to our children and to their children's children and to the children's children after them. We need to be given an oral history of ours, lest we be lost in the shuffle. Am I talking to anybody? Because we have a great history. Come on here, truck driver. We have a rich history. We have giants. We have people that have done tremendous things in your family. Listen, I'm going to tell you what. I went on the year before last, the year that I left from Texas. So that would have been the year before last. And I went and I was blessed to go spend some time with my uncle. I did not know that my uncle worked for a petroleum company, which I will not name, but he worked for one of the largest petroleum companies in the United States. And lo and behold, he did not have the title of the engineer, but he was the engineer. And the funny thing about it, they put him and another man, two people, for this entire company to run the engineering section with no training that they had given them, expecting them to fail. And my uncle, I'm telling you, if my whole chest could just all the way pop out and change from double D's to triple Z's, my whole chest was sticking out. When he got finished telling me, and he talked about, he said they shifted him all kind of work shifts, crazy shift, crazy hours, anything to try to work against him. And he held it down. We are the original engineers. And when he began to talk and when he began to share, he said, that's why a lot of times when I came home, that was my quiet space, because it gave me time to think and debrief and to just, decompress and da-da-da-da-da. And when I sat there and I listened to him, I remember at my father's funeral, the man stood up and said, my father by himself, he used to run and throw a scheme. He said, my father by himself alone in the Treasury building for the whole Midwest of the United States, my father was responsible for getting those government checks out on his own by himself. He said, and it was enough, the mail that he he put out in a month was enough for 18 trailers full all the way around 5 times. And my father did that by himself. I'm talking about heroes, giants in the land. And these are stories, and I did not hear that story until the day of my father's funeral, when the union man came to talk about how, as a matter of fact, the union man said, he's the one that got me the president of the union. He recruited me, he rallied the people, and that's how I got here, was because of this man. I'm just like, that's huge, Dr. Dady. That's huge. And my dad did all of this from memory, Dr. Dady. My dad did all of that from memory. My dad was one of those, you could take numbers, several numbers together, and he could multiply those numbers in his head all the way across without a pencil and paper. Do you understand the words that are coming out? These were great people. Come on, Dr. Dady, you said my grandfather was a chemist with an elementary education, compounded for a local drugstore. Come on here. We need to tell these stories. We need to recant or actually retell and recount all of the greatness, and some of them with 3rd grade, some of them with 6th grade, some of them with 8th grade, and some of them with no grade education. But they were geniuses in their own right. Am I talking to anybody? I sat there as my uncle talked, and I'm so glad he was able to share that knowledge. And I said, I never knew. And he said, you know, and he's so quiet. He's so humble. He's so down to earth. And back in that day, they wasn't trying, it's my time to shine. They were some of the most humble. They walked in some of the greatest humility. They were not going to toot their own horn. And while he sat there and talked, I was in tears. How did I not know this man all these years? All these years. His whole life career, I knew that he worked for the petroleum company, had no clue. And these are stories. And even as I said to him, I want you to tell this story again. I want us to have a family reunion. And it's not about you tooting your own horn. It's about our family and our generations knowing the greatness that was among us. What we did, even when they set us up for failure, and who didn't fail was us. Am I talking to anybody? I'm still in the scriptures. Y'all want me to get all into the Jewish tradition and the oral tradition of their history. But listen, just like they had Moses and all the miracle signs and wonders that Moses did in the wilderness, baby, we did some miracle signs and wonders in the wilderness. Am I talking to anybody? I'm talking heavy, Dr. Dady. And I want us, because we get so buried into, and I love everything that Moses did. I have nothing against it. I love Joshua getting ready to lead the folks into the promised land for deliverance. I have nothing against it. I want to see who's going to be our Moses, who's going to be our Joshua, who's going to be our Caleb. Who's going to take us out of Egypt through bondage? We've talked long enough about Dr. King. Martin been dead how many years? And we still talking about Dr. King. Who is taking up and picking up the slack? The people expected me to fail, but the schools kept improving, so they sabotaged their own self. Dr. Dady, you better talk. Some of you need to tell your own story. How I got over. My soul looks back and wonders how I made it over. But some of us came through hard trials and tribulations. Some of us came through places where the traps were set for us to fail. And not only did we not fail, we took it to a whole nother level of success. We need to tell the story. How we've overcome. And they'll understand it better by and by. Y'all ain't, hey, y'all not ready for me tonight. Come on. We have New Testaments for God to write through us. We are living epistles known and read of all men, but we're not telling the story. We're not giving the oral history. We're not going through the oral tradition. We're not talking about who did what and why and when. And I'm talking about more than just talking sloppy and slap. You know, all of that's fine and good for comedy and hey, knock yourself out. But at the end of the day, I want something that's going to stick to your ribs. I want something that's going to expand your mind. I want something that's going to make you feel good and move on to another level and expand yourself in knowledge and understanding. And yes, I can be an engineer. Yes, I can be whatever I want to be. Yes, I am greatness. There is greatness in me. We must show and tell, Cassandra. Come on here, See Love 702. That's what I'm getting. Those are the vibes I'm reading. That's what I'm taking away from all of this recounting and retelling about what God did for the children of Israel. What has God done for us lately? He's done so much, but who's telling? Who's giving the oral account? Who's giving the written tradition and telling us what we did? Our real-time lessons of resilience helps future generations to overcome. We got to tell it. Show and tell, show and tell. It's not just a game we played. Hey, am I talking to anybody? And I hope I'm talking to everybody. And this is, every culture needs to do it. But listen, I'm in my house. I'm in my house tonight. I'm talking to my people tonight. We are the roadmaps, Dr. Dady. And y'all just want to keep going back, talking about Moses and the children of Israel. And I don't have a problem with that. Go ahead. Read it. Tell it. Retell it. Preach it. But while you telling everybody else's, tell your own. Tell your own history. Tell your own genius. Tell your own deliverance. Tell your own. Come on. You understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. Tell yours, See Love. Tell yours. And can I say this? And you all may have an attitude, but I'm just going to tell you, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. That's it right there, Dalen. This is what I want us to understand. White nationalist Christianity wanted it that way. Know everybody's history but your own. Preach everybody's history but your own. Read everybody's stories but your own. Get your head so stuck in the Bible that if it's not in Genesis to Revelations, you will not digest it. Baby, that's a plot, a plan, and it has tricked us right out of knowing who we are. I said what I said, and I'll add to it before I take it back. It has tricked us right out of knowing who we are. I know whose I am. I know I belong to the Lord, but let me know, let me understand, let me hear what happened with my uncle. Let me hear the exploits of my father. Let me hear the exploits of my grandfather. My great-grandfather, now this I didn't know, was one of the scouts that took the army people across the country. He was Indian. I know a lot of folks say they Indian, but they not. My grandfather, my great-grandfather was. My grandfather's father, his hair went all the way down beyond his butt, had the most beautiful hair you ever wanted to see, and he was an Indian scout, and he took the military across the country and scouted for them so they could go from point A to point B. I do know that. His name was Amos Stillman. Am I talking to anybody? No, your military did not get from here to there on their own. They used scouts from the natives. And my grandfather happened to be one of those. Come on, tell us how we possessed the land. Tell us how we went from east to west. Tell us. And every time you tell the story, our names and our forebears are going to be in it. Our generations ahead of us, our forefathers' names are going to be in it. If we tell our story, it doesn't matter who takes our name out of the book. It doesn't matter who else didn't tell it. Tell it to your people. Tell our own stories. Am I talking to anybody in here? Let's tell our own stories. Oh, I'm glad that the Lord, I'm just looking over this. He brought them through the streams, the waters gushed out. He gave them bread and meat for his people. Baby, that's how they came up with soul food, because when they wouldn't give us any food and they threw the garbage out, we figured out how to take what they called the garbage of the animals and cook that food and feed a whole family and make it tasty and make it delicious. So much so that they wanted some of what we had at our table. And baby, we ain't eating nothing but the scraps, the throwaways, and the trash and garbage you didn't want. But we took that and turned it into something that was so scrumptious and so delicious, got you running out of the house to come out here and put your mouth on the lips of my spoon and get down in my kettles and eat the garbage that I cook, because the garbage that I cook tastes better than you in the kitchen turning around trying to cook top sirloin steak. Am I talking to anybody? Woo! We took the trash and the garbage and turned it into something that you want. We sat down and you put us out here in these different areas. You put us out here in less than good living conditions. We figured out how to make a broom so we could sweep the dirt, so that those dirt floors that we had wasn't dirty dirt. We got those dirt floors and made what we called a broom and figured out how to sweep the dirty dirt out and keep the good dirt in and have a good clean house on top of the dirt. Am I talking to anybody? Oh, yes, we did. Oh, yes, we did. You can't erase it. You can't make it of no effect. You can't make it zeroed out. You can't keep me talking about Moses so that I'm so busy talking about Moses and what Moses did for the children of Israel that I can't stop and talk about what God did for us. And he's still doing it. Still doing it. Am I talking to anybody? And we're still finding the power of God that causes us to, and still I rise, and still I rise, and still I rise. Somebody needs to tell the story. Woo! Understand, even the old hymns of the church, by and by when the morning comes, when all the saints are gathering home. Listen, this is the thing we started saying out of our Black tradition and experience. We'll tell the stories of how we've overcome, and we'll understand it better by and by, because sometimes we can't understand it down here because it just really doesn't make any sense. But come on, Dr. Dady. Ooh, let me come back and see what the children are saying. Because listen, I was fired up. I was fired up. The same trick 47 and the Christian Nationals use right now, deflection. Come on here, Dr. Dady. And we need to tell our story. Come on, truck driver, that's what I'm trying to do. Tell our story. Dr. Dady, this is what we're about. Soul food was our survival food. God blessed, and it was multiplied, and so were we. That still scares them. Our ability to take nothing and make the greatest thing out of nothing and make it something. Not only something, but something highly desirable. Am I talking to anybody? How in the world can a people, through such oppression, still rise like cream to the top? Every time. I don't care what happens. I don't care what they put on us. I don't care how they try to make it more and more difficult and impossible, or so it would seem. We always make possibilities out of the impossible. Though somebody said the word impossible says, I'm possible. At the end of the day, Black folks have continued to say, I'm possible. You try to stamp me out. You try to erase me. You try to make me nothing. Even in the church, you try to reduce me to nothing but singing in the choir and being good entertainment in the church, but I'm still possible. I'm possible, and it's not impossible for God, and it's not impossible through us. Am I talking to anybody? But what I want to know, can we tell the story? Can we tell the story? Can we tell the story to the next generation and the next generation and the next generation? Now, this is going to be the scramble, and I'm going to say this with my whole chest. Should the current powers that be successful in eradicating any trace of the exploits of black people from this country, and we built this country. It wasn't built on rock and roll. We built this country on our backs with our blood. Us rocking and rolling. Well, listen. Hey, rock and roll, all right, but it wasn't no guitar. And you stole that. But at the end of the day, we built this world, Dalen. We did. But have we, if it were possible to eradicate all of that, have we told and written down? And I keep saying, I'm not just saying the oral tradition, I'm also including the written tradition. And even as Dalen brought up earlier, pictures, a pictorial remembrance. Have we retained and kept enough of who we are to tell our Black Bible? Because we got one. I said what I said, and I'll add to it before I take it back. While y'all keep on reading and keep on getting caught up, and that's okay. I have nothing, because that's the word of God. What God wrote through the Black Bible is the word of God too, because it was nobody but God that brought us here. He brought us, he taught us, he set us on our way. And the same way God did it for the Jewish people, the same way God did it for the early church, God has done it through the lives of black folks, and we need our own Black Bible. And I just want to know, have we got enough of the ancestors? Do we have enough of those that remember? Do we have enough people, enough information that we've held back, written down? Have we kept enough for actually being able to write this Bible and keep it for posterity's sake of how the Lord, by the hand of God, delivered the black folk out of the hand of the enemy? And I'm not being racist. Please believe me, I am not being racist. While we've looked at so many other cultures, and we're not the only ones that have been oppressed. And I'm not even going to get on that bandwagon, because if you compare our experience to everybody else's, I was even watching something the other night. They got to talking about reparations, and everybody got reparations for this, that, and the other, and we ain't seen one red cent. Everybody got reparations, and we ain't seen a penny. Nonetheless, I'm not, come on. Our 40 Acres and a Mule is a film company. Come on here, Dalen. Tell the truth and shame the devil. It is. That's the only 40 Acres and a Mule we got. And at the end of the day, this is where I look and say, but everybody else figured out, at least at bare minimum, amongst our groups and comrades, we've got to retain our history. I believe, and I haven't been there yet because I can't wait to get there. I believe that we started that with the Black History Museum that was created not long ago. But listen, I'm telling you, from city to city, town to town, there's not near enough of our history being preserved. And again, I'm not looking to other people. The Jewish folk, as they were writing these historical elements and records and histories down, they weren't asking somebody else. They didn't go into the Egyptian camp and say, will you write our history? Remember when we were here? Remember when we worked after y'all, Pharaoh rose up that didn't know Moses, and then y'all turned us into slaves. Now tell that part of the story and tell it right. No, they're not going to tell it right. They're the oppressor. Yeah. Oh, I feel a militancy rising up. The Egyptians taught them how to work. They were illiterate. Come on here. But at the end of the day, listen, I'm saying we black and we proud. What I'm trying to get us to understand, and I could go a whole lot of places on who were the Egyptians and where did while we talking about all of the knowledge and all the history and this and that and the other, and who were they really? Okay, that's not for tonight. We'll do that another time, Dalen. You trying to push me into another realm? So they ain't ready for that. They ain't ready for that. They brought coughs, colds, and disease. Oh my goodness. I could show you all some studies. I could show you almost got me, Dalen. You almost got me. I could show you all some studies that would blow your minds. But some of y'all not ready because you're still coming out of white Christian nationalism, white nationalist Christianity. Let me put it that way. And you're just not ready. And so, I have to go at the rate that folks can handle it. But tonight I'm talking, and I don't care who may come after the fact, to all of my white friends, and I have many that may watch this on demand, or you might even be in here right now. I'm talking to my black brothers and sisters right now, because at the end of the day, our history is at risk. Our house is on fire. We are the ones that are going through the transitions. Yes, everybody's feeling it, but listen, at the end of the day, I'm trying to tell you, the history of us as blacks and as a people needs to be told. It needs to be held. It needs to be remembered. It needs to be recounted. And something in me, and I'm sitting here and I'm looking at, and let me tell you how I ended up here. Because as I was reading this, along with the history that's being made right now, even as we breathe, live, and move, I'm reading this, and it's talking about he did miracles in the sight of the ancestors. And the more I read, my blackness rose up in me and said, I appreciate all this that God did for Moses and the children of Israel, but we've got a story to tell, and we will not be erased. We will not be eradicated. We will not be dealt as if we never walked the face of this earth. And as Dalen said, built it. We will not be. But the danger comes in knowing, have we done a good job preserving our own history? Have we? Have we done a good job preserving, while we spend so much time, just like white nationalist Christianity wants you to do, spend so much time in Genesis to Revelations and not getting any other knowledge, not using any other resources, not getting any other understanding, and definitely not knowing who you are and where you came from. Baby, that's right down to exactly what they want. And we have fallen for the okie doke. We have fallen for the okie doke. And y'all can name all of the Bible characters in the Bible. And some of our seniors, if you were to ask them, as astute as they are in the Bible, if you were to ask them who was Crispus Attucks, they have no idea. They have no response. They are deer in headlights. Because while they know all of Joshua and Caleb, and they know Goliath and David, and they know all the Bible stories, and all, they know nothing about their own people. Kunta Kinte, the only thing greater than thyself. Kunta, son of, come on, y'all. Y'all not buying what I'm selling. And though we hailed Alex Haley as a genius in what he had done in telling the story of his personal family history, how many of us can do and tell and speak? Am I talking to anybody? And I'm still just as spiritual now as I am any other time. But see, even that whole sense of feeling like I have to defend talking about Black history and holding on to it just like we hold on to the Bible and the Jewish history and the Jewish tradition. I have to come back and make apologies almost for it so that I don't have people sitting in here saying, she don't know God. And honey, that all that stuff she talking about ain't none of that in the Bible. The Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams changed my life in the 6th grade. Come on here. Reading is fundamental. RIF, Dalen. And that's the one thing I want y'all to hear me. Oh, Lord, I'm here. So let me just be here. If I can get you to do nothing but read the Bible, and even let me tell you why I'm doing the Genesis to Revelations, because I want you, if you're going to defend something, if you're going to fight over, if you're going to die over it, and or to understand, just like I said, the sons of the daughters of Zelophehad. Most of you all didn't know that that story was even in the Bible. That's why I stopped to bring it out when we got there, because I want you to see and know God spoke in the Old Testament and told Moses to not give the women an inheritance is wrong. And y'all still fight and argue amongst yourselves to this day when God already said all the way back then what he said. And God said what he said, and he meant it. And I didn't make it up, and it's in the book. But we'll get so caught up because you didn't read the whole book and you got somebody spoon feeding you and telling you what to read. And in between time, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Ain't nobody keeping you and your eyeballs from reading the 66 books. But there's so much more. And that's why I said, even in bringing in the study helps, there's more than the 66 books. Get you some study helps, get you some information and some knowledge outside of the 66 books. But I'm going to tell you that white nationalist Christianity has done a marvelous job in keeping you ignorant as it involves black folks, because you'll read the Bible and know nothing about your people and feel like you are doing the right thing. And didn't God tell Moses, don't forget to remember? Tell him, listen, never forget. I want you to recount it and repeat it and retell it in the streets, in the byways. And that's what we see them doing here in Psalm 78, Psalms 103, all the different Psalms that we talked about. That's all they're doing is recounting and retelling. Now, the same way God told them to do that, how he delivered them with the mighty outstretched hand, why do you think God would not tell us that? Because our God is the white God that has come from the white nationalist Christianity movement, and they not going to tell you to begin to talk about your freedom and your liberty and how God delivered you from the oppressor when they're the oppressor. Are y'all understanding the words that are coming out of my mouth? And I'm not taking anything away from God. I'm not taking anything away from the Jews. I'm not taking anything away from the early church. I'm not taking anything away from the children of Israel as they go into the promised land. Why are we not talking about ourselves? Cassandra, this is so real to help us realize we are who we are, and no one can change that or silence us until we allow it to. Come on, that's and the allowance that I'm saying we're allowing. We won't tell our own history. We won't have our own oral traditions. We won't tell our own stories. Am I talking to anybody? Come on, flirt. I said what I said, and I'll add to it before I take it back. We've been made to feel ashamed of our history, Dr. Dady. And as if telling our history and giving an accounting of our history, like we like to go back and give an accounting of the Jews' history, like we have suddenly stepped over into territory that is taboo and wrong and evil and demonic. No, the same way God told them, don't ever forget where I brought you from. Why wouldn't God tell us as black folks the same thing? How come God can have everybody remember their history except for us? We've got to forget. We've got to act like it never happened. We can't speak a word. Shh, don't talk about that. We've got to whisper it. We've got to talk in code. We've got to know on the rooftops, shout it from the rooftops. We were here and we built this country. We built this world, even in the face of all of the hypocrisy, even in the face of all the devilment, even in the face of all the hatred, even in the face of all of the things that you've done. We still our rise. Is anybody listening to me today? Woo! And why shouldn't we tell our story? And why should we be ashamed? I don't have to be ashamed. You strung me up after you finished on Sunday morning. Shall we gather at the river? You strung me up, set me on fire, tired and feathered me, and then cut off my genitalia and took it for souvenirs. That's what you did. You need to be shamed, not me. Am I talking to anybody? I might have just got disconnected and banned from somewhere. When you listen to the family elders, they can recount our rich past. And that's the thing we've got to record. At one point, Dr. Dady, I had in my heart, and I had bought the equipment, and I said, I'm just going to go around from place to place and just have old people go into the old folks' homes. And for those that still have some semblance of memory left, just let them sit and talk. Just let them sit and talk and just record, just record, just record, just record. Whew. Especially when he told it to us first, in my opinion, as of people. Come on here. In Cookies, come on in here, sis. I'm talking to us, flirt. Never be ashamed of where we come from. Come on here. Liars are never interested in hearing or embracing the truth. Come on, Dr. Dady. I don't care. And now I did this with my family, as a matter of fact, and I just have not post-produced it yet. And I'm so glad I did, because I got my mother and my auntie before they passed away. I got all of them that were left of the surviving. And I just sat down and turned on a recorder, a video cam, and just let them talk until they got finished talking. And I'm telling you, now that they are gone and part of the ancestors, I'm so glad I have that for posterity's sake. And my goal is to actually reproduce it and give it to all of my kinfolk, all of their offspring, so that their offspring can give it to their offspring, and their offspring can give it to their offspring. And I still didn't get near about enough. I didn't get near about enough information. But what they shared, and the heartaches and the pains that they went through. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And I will cherish that till I close my eyes. And hopefully when I pass it on to others, and when I pass in and become one of the ancestors, hopefully that story of my family on my mother's side, because I didn't get it for my father's side, will be retained. Now, I have one on my father's side that I intend to sit down with him soon, and very soon, as I get an opportunity, and just turn on the video and just let him talk. Listen, babies, there's all kind of ways that we can hold on to our stories, but don't let them die and go to the grave without having something that we can pass to our ancestors. There's a PBS special where they went around short. Yes, there is, Dalen, but this is the thing. And it was after construction, and they did an oral history, and it was amazing. And that is true. I've watched that and I love it. I've got some excerpts of it. But that was at Reconstruction. This is 2025. We've come a long way in so many things, even since the 60s. This is 2025. We need to continue to tell and capture the story. Don't just get me captured at Reconstruction. Don't just get me captured in it. We need the whole story. It's a video camera, not a snapshot. The lives that we've lived and the things that we've overcome and the struggles that we have risen above. That story continues, and it needs to be continuously told. It needs to be continuously captured. It needs to be continuously. Come on, your mom is 96. Come on, I've got an auntie who's 97. And baby, I'm telling, and her mind, her body, her everything, she gets around. I'm her namesake. My middle name is after her. And I said, listen, in those 97 years, sometimes I'll just actually sit down with her and have her talk. I never met any of my grandparents. However, I have learned much of their history through talking to some of the elders of our community. Come on here, Cassandra. Talk to people. Get an opportunity to find out whatever you can find out. Record it. Don't just hear it, but find a pencil, a pen, a video cam, something. Take your phone, record it while they're talking. Get pictures of pictures. Get pictures of individuals talking. Whatever you can do, but hold on to your story. And we've got to tell our stories. What was the first religious that our black people have? I have heard so many Christian voodoo because yes, voodoo is a religion, not just evil. Muslim, or which one was our first one? Listen, I ask because I don't know, because I keep being told so many different things. Let me tell you this. Voodoo is a name and hoodoo is a name that was given. And I'm going to tell you this. And now Christian folk going to get mad at me. So go ahead and stop up your ears. Many of the things that white evangelical Christianity took and they didn't understand, they put labels on it to keep us away from it. But many of the things, we as black folks have always been spiritual. We've always had that connection to God, and we've always had senses. We've always had, and when I say senses, I'm talking about extrasensory perception. We've always had the ability to be spiritual and see into the spirit and have visions and have unctions and all of those types of things. And because as they came over here, or as we were brought over here and they came into, because originally blacks could not teach and preach to other blacks. It was only white evangelicals that were allowed to go on the plantations and preach. So everything that we were doing, all of the spirituality, all of the things that the jumping, the dancing, all of that was taken away from us in our religious practices. They got us to sit calmly and be still and taught us our religion, their religion rather, and everything that we had connection to that they didn't understand, they made it and called it evil. And there you have it. And then some of us today don't have any better understanding to then turn around and continue to call it evil. Now, and I will say this, and anybody that wants to go back and study, you can. Many of the medicines that we currently use, they went to those same hoodoo and voodoo doctors, witch doctors and everything else they named them and called them, went in and learned their methodology, learned their knowledge, learned the roots and the things that they were using and being healers. They took that, called and made it medicine, then said you have to have a license to practice it when we were practicing it before they were. Licensed it and said you had to have a license to practice it, and then came up with pharmaceuticals and made us have to pay for what we taught. Well, ain't even what they came and stole from us in our holistic, and now they call it holistic, and you got to pay for that. Stole it from us and then turned around and made us pay for it, and then let us die because then after you couldn't practice it because you didn't have a license, you hadn't been to school, when you came and got our knowledge, information, called it voodoo, hoodoo, witchcraft and everything else, and then made us turn on the hoodoo, voodoo and witchcraft acting people, and then you took what you stole from them, and then we stopped going to our own and started going to them, paying them, and they set up and killed us. They did experiments on us with no anesthesia. They did every damnable thing under the sun, and the healing practices that they got, they stole from us. Now, the truth be told about medicine as we know it in this country. So when you start asking me questions about hoodoo and voodoo and witchcraft and this and that and the other, y'all got a lot of those names, and or even if that was the name of what it was utilized by white nationalist Christianity to demonize it into something negative, to make you turn on it, to make you refuse it, and to make you call it wicked and evil, and to refuse to utilize the very thing they went in amongst those people that they were talking about and demonizing, and went and took their knowledge and their information, turned around and used it for their healing practices, and then made us pay for it, and then let us die. Come on here, when we needed it. Don't get me started. Y'all y'all done hit the wrong nerve up in here. And I'm not making up stories. I'm not talking about something that, you got all these theories. I'm talking about this is documented. This is factual information. But the people are destroyed for lack of knowledge because we don't know any better. Listen, the cure is in the root. And that's exactly what they were doing, Dalen. Come on, flirt. I said what I said, and I'll add to it before I take it back. Because ain't nothing but ain't nothing but that old sleuth. Listen. Ain't nothing but the devil. And now let me tell you, even in everything that I just said, and that's factual. I'm not saying that as a black activist that's making up stories about stuff that we didn't do. No, that's factual. That's documented. It is so. And that, beloved, is the problem with not knowing our history. Well, I'm not going to say the whole purpose of the psalm. Dalen, what I said today was, as I read and started, because this is all that they're doing in this historical element right here. They're recounting. Now, if you remember, before Moses died, how many times, if you all remember, for those that have been with me every night, if you remember, this is the umpteenth time he's had them retell and recount their story, the history. They just keep going over it and over it. And so here again, he's just showing in Psalms, and let me give you all the scriptures for those that might want to go back and get those. In these particular Psalms, come. There we are. I got too many tabs open. Okay, so on these particular, I'm going to share my screen so you can see exactly where I'm pulling this from. Now, so, and I didn't get into a lot of the recounting and retelling. Psalms, summing up of the history, Psalm 78 verses 12 to 66, Psalms 105 verses 16 to 45, Psalms 106 verses 1 to 33, Psalms 135 verses 1 through 20. That was our reading for tonight. The point that I'm making, Dalen, is as I did pull up. Okay, so let me go over there, because as I said, my doc is not working, so the only way I can share it with you is to actually show it to you by pulling it up this way online. I did pull it up, and I have read it, but this is what I'm saying. As I read it and as I looked at it, this is the thing that always irritates me. So that's where I am with that. But this is the thing that irritates me and why I went this direction. Because while we spend so much time, energy, and effort recounting everybody else's history in the Bible, but we don't know our own history. And as I read it, I was like, same. Black folks could say the same thing. He did miracles in the sight of our ancestors. He led us in the land of Egypt. He took us into zone, and he divided the Red Sea and brought us through. He made water stand up like a wall. Now, I may not be saying literally that happened, but figuratively, all of this that I'm reading about the children of Israel, we've been through all of that. Why are we not telling our own history? Why are we not doing our own oral tradition? Why are we not telling and sharing with the generations after us? And again, this is the umpteenth time now that we've had them retell the story of how they went into the Egypt, how they went through the slavery period, how they were brought out with a mighty hand of God working miracle signs and wonders, how they got out in the wilderness for, it's actually 38, but 40 years in the wilderness wandering around, all the blah, 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 blah. And we keep telling that story about the children of Israel over and over and over again, and we're not telling our own story. That's how we ended up here. And those are the particular passages that go back and tell those same stories that we just got from Deuteronomy. It's just told all the way over in the Psalms sometime later. And my point to that exactly is, why do we not have that same retaining of our oral history amongst Black people? Because we could put our names in places of the different ones that we're talking about here, and the story would still fit. the story would still be apropos. But our children and our children's children do not know these stories. And I don't know many stories of my ancestors. I don't know many stories of my forefathers. I don't know. I told you some stuff I learned at my father's funeral I'd never heard told before. Things that my uncle shared with me when I was there the last time and just spent time with him, I never heard before. My point that I'm driving, these are stories that, just like the children of Israel kept telling their stories over and over again, we need to be doing the same thing. That's my point. And to me, that's more important to me tonight, especially in these times, than going back and reading Psalm 78 verses 12 to 29. Because y'all got that in your Bible. You can read that all day, every day, and some of you will. But some of you absolutely know positively nothing about your own history. That is a tragedy. Our own history is a huge part of his story. We were there all the time. Absolutely, Cassandra. And God was right there with us. And I can go all the way back to Eve if y'all just really want me to go there, but I won't. I just won't. Dalen, you trying to push me over in that realm. Oh, but what I'm saying is no less spiritual than me reading the story of the children of Israel. And that is another point that I wanted to say. And please hear me when I say that. My point about us is no less spiritual than reading and recounting the story of the children of Israel. If anything, I want to say our story is, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I just want to drive the point. We are doing ourselves an injustice and a disservice not to be telling our stories just as in fact. I'm not going to tell you stop telling the story of the children of Israel. All I'm telling you is it's more important to me that you know your story. Okay? It's more important to me that you know your story. Am I talking to anybody in here? And everywhere you see the name God, every time you see the Lord, every time it'll still fit right in there. I promise you. But I just want you to know your story. And it's just as spiritual, if not more so. All right. Woo, listen. Oh, it's almost 7:30, y'all. I must have really got revved up. I'm so sorry. Oh, but I'm passionate about this. Now, don't play. I'm passionate about this. I am, because it hurts my heart to the core, to the quick, that we have so many unlearned Black people when it comes to Black history, when it comes to our own history about our own families and our ancestors, when we have no knowledge of where we've come from. And I'm not talking about, I can talk about Martin Luther King and I can talk about all of the historic people of the civil rights times, but do you not know that you had some family members during those same times that were not, that what we would call unsung heroes, but they were doing powerful things? Do you know that story? Do you have that to tell and know and share with your children and your children's children? While they're out here trying to erase us from the globe. Come on, you have a story that you must tell, Cassandra. Am I talking to anybody? I'm going to close because I really didn't realize I had gone this far over. But y'all know, as you can tell, this is my passion. This is exactly how in the Lions Den morning services, morning sessions got as revved up as they did, because I am always about educating us about who we are and knowing what's going on in our community and learning to band together. And this is what I'll say even from that. I sometimes I just in my thoughts as I reflect back, because I started in 2020. You just saw a news headline that, oh, listen, I don't even want to hear about Doge. Is pleased with how efficiently DEI has been erased. Oh, I'm sure they are. I'm sure. Oh, I knew what you meant. I'm sure they are. And that was Dr. Dady, that was the whole intent of that so-called department. How can you have a department that Congress has not voted in, created, or anything else? You just pull it out of thin air. There's really technically not even a Doge, but we've automatically started calling it a department when it was not even formulated correctly. You can't just wake up one day and say, I got a Doge. And one minute you're the head of it, the next minute you're not. You don't have anything. You're just advisor, just lying, just lying. And at the end of the day, come on, C Love. Uh, I don't. This is what I want us to hear me say. And I started, as I reflected last year when I took that time away, and I was like, Lord, I don't even know if there was any effectiveness. I don't know that I efficiently did anything to speak to the people, to deliver the people, to make the people think. But nonetheless, I'm going to continue to say it, and continue to teach it. The Color of Money, The Color of Law, all of those books that I covered with you guys. And I don't know how many of you even remember any of those teachings. But because I don't care, and hear me when I say this, and I believe this is our finest hour. I really, really do. Oh, Dr. Dady, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you, Dr. Dady. You are the one. You are the one. I appreciate you. But at the end of the day, it's like I want us to understand that the more that they try to erase us, the more we're going to rise up. And I'm not talking about we trying to get World War III and all that crazy stuff. I want us to understand. Oh yes, Dalen. Many people are saying that. Many people are saying that. I want us to understand, until we come together. Until we come together. They know we're on the cusp of great things. And Dr. Dady, I want to say this because I think I shared this today with Flirt. I knew sowing and reaping seasons are still in effect. We don't own our breath. So remember who is really in charge. Come on here, Cassandra. So this, as much as I taught and as much as I talked and as much as I shared and poured out and tried, even out of that platform came an element of division and divisiveness from some of the folks I would least expect. And at that point, it was like, you got to be kidding me, right? You really got to be kidding me. Because once, and this is the thing that I've always said from day one, and I'll continue to say it. The thing that has been so strongly embedded in Black folk is the spirit of division. Can I say that again? The thing that has been so effectively embedded into the hearts, minds, and spirit of Black folks is the spirit of division. You can start pulling something together, and didn't begin with Willie Lynch. Come on here. And this is where I look, and in my prayer, in my heart of hearts, it's like, Lord, how will we get that spirit out of your people? Because you can start something and be so effective, or what's the word I want to use? Seem like the ball is rolling. And then one or two little imps, and I'm not calling the people imps. I'm talking about that spirit. I said a spirit of division, if you heard what I said, will come in and start to tear it apart and pick at it and sow seeds of discord. And it's amazing to me how fast people jump on the bandwagon. That never ceases to amaze me, how fast and how quickly people will jump on the bandwagon. Oh, listen, this is real. And so it's like, for every movement that begins to rise up, And I know division is going to, but the thing is, how is it able to run like wildfire through the people? How is that? It's so effective. But I understand how this spirit of division was implanted in us from the time they brought us over on the ships, y'all. And then for because we know there were some black folk already here that didn't come from Africa. In case you didn't know, now you know. But for this ability to sow discord among the brethren in black folks, and how we have succumbed to it over and over and over, and it's been divide and conquer. It is a divide and conquer spirit, Dr. Dady, and it's so effective on us. And I know, I understand all of the psychology and everything. But my thing is, when will we come to the point? Because we are a spiritual people. Listen, that's why, back to Flirt, you said something and you were asking about spirituality. That's why they wanted us to turn against the spirituality elements, that extrasensory perception, that ability to use roots and things like that. And all of we had recently some pastors got into it with me about roots and whatnot. And I'm like, I'm not even gonna call names, but roots were used in the church. And at the end of the day, oh my God, the division and the argument that came out of that. But what's wrong with roots? That's how they were healing people. That's how they kept folk alive. That's how they created salves. That's how they made teas out of this, that, and the other, and put this herb with that. And baby, that's how we survived and lived and were healed when other folks were dying and we didn't die, because we had the root. And at the end of the day, we've made all of those spiritual areas and all of that mystery that we didn't understand. And we took on white nationalist Christianity and called it evil. And much of that was how we lived. And I ain't talking about trying to put spells on people. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about coming in. And at the end of the day, I have to say this, having come from a Pentecostal background, I can remember people said we were crazy. Oh, they are down there jumping and shouting and sweating and speaking in tongues and rolling in the floor. I remember they called us holy rollers. They down there spitting in and speaking in tongues and foaming at the mouth and putting spells on. But they said the same thing. So I don't have I don't have a problem with that, because they said the same thing about us. Come on, Dr. Dady, you know I'm not lying. As we go back to living off the earth, these things will be revealed. They've really done us a favor. Come on, Dr. Dady, and you're speaking the truth there. That's why I said this is our greatest hour, because it's going to drive us back to who we are, to who we were. We're going to go back to some of that and start dropping off some of this other foolishness that was indoctrinated into us and start moving into the things of God like we used to. And it got called evil and wicked. And I remember when, as a Pentecostal child, it was almost for me sometimes embarrassing to tell people that I went to a holiness church, because all of the lies and the stories that they told, and confused about gospel music, looking at us weird. Come on here, all of that. See love, and so I know what it is to have people not understand a movement in the spirit and have people call it demonic. I know what that is. And we've turned around and before that done the same thing, because the white preachers that they were sending to the plantation, all while they was over there with the voodoo and the witchcraft and the hoodoo, learning everything that they could from and stealing their information, then came and told us they were evil and demonic. After they got what they wanted. Then they told us they were evil and demonic to keep you from going there. Because God forbid that you get tangled up with what they told you was evil. But was it? Was it? Oh, okay. I'm going to leave that alone. And when I ask that question, I say, was it? Because are you about to talk about something that you know nothing about? Is it something that you heard, or is it something that you actually witnessed? Because even out of that same Pentecostalism, I would listen when I would be out and about amongst, especially because I was raised in a more predominantly white area. And when I would hear the stuff that they would say we were doing, not knowing that I was Pentecostal, what they would say we were doing in our church services, I'm sitting there looking at them like, who in the world told you that? No, we're not. We ain't did none of that. I don't know who told you that. And this is the thing I want us to understand. When people don't understand and they go out and start telling your story and telling what you did, not ever having been there, not ever having witnessed it or experienced it, and you start believing what they said on their word when their whole intent is to come against the power that you have. Because you know what? I'm going to say this, and I ain't trying to throw no rocks and hide my hand. Them same folk that talked about us like a dog at the Pentecostal church when they got sick, guess where we see them opening the door to our church and they'd be coming in talking about, will you pray for me? That same blessed oil, that same speaking in tongues, that same jumping up and shouting and everything else. Baby, when they got sick and needed a healing in their body, whose church do you think they came to? I said what I said, and I'll add to it before I take it back. So this is, and I'm saying that because the whole element, when you start talking, Flirt, about our spiritual background and where we came from and what we did, the priestess of your, I'm not gonna go there, but there's so many elements of spirituality, Black spirituality, African spirituality, that we've been taught against, that have been powerful for us and to us, much of which we were taught against and were taught that it was evil and wicked, when in actuality it was what kept us alive. It's what spared our lives. It's what healed us. It's what brought us into spaces and places that nobody but God could have done. Two of the hottest products on the market today came from Black people using science: Vicks Vapor Rub and HV Ranch. Come on. And who bought them out? Come on, Dr. Dady. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get out. I told y'all when I went to Jamaica, I had my little Jamaican healer, the guy that came, my little Jamaica man, and I was afflicted. And he sent his guy out into the field and had him get some leaves and bring them back. And when he brought that stuff back, he said, I just want you, he took it, he had me crush it. He showed me how to crush it. And he said, I just want you to smell it. Just keep smelling it. Hold it up to you. And when I tell you the fragrance, the aroma, the whatever was coming out of that, baby, all the way down into my stomach, you hear me? Healed the girl. Now, when you talk about things like that, and this is what he said. Now, y'all hear me? Wally World had some kind of contract that they had signed where they were getting ready to come over in the next couple of years, and they were going to harvest that and bring it back. And they were going to bring it back to the United States and sell it as a natural herb. Now, you know, at the end of the day, but that little Jamaican man, and then even the fact to this, that the man that he sent out into the field to get it and came back with it, they knew exactly what the healing properties of that was. He knew exactly what to tell me what to get. He knew exactly how to tell me how to apply it. Then he did have other applications that he did as well. So he ended up part of the tour, and this because I was sick. He ended up part of the tour talking about different remedies and herbs and this and that and the other. And then we ended up going someplace. He took us to some little backwoods store and went in, and he had people buying. He went in and bought stuff and brought it back. And at the end of the day, you know, those people were, honey, they got their own little healing remedies. Now, I hope they all passed through customs. I don't know. But at the end of the day, that man sent that man out in the field, and I was healed. I'm here to tell you, hook, line, and sinker, all the way down in my belly, not just my nasal passages. So this is what we have known all down through the years. This has been a part of our history, but others have come in and taken it away. And at the end of the day, we're sick, we're feeble, we got all kind of maladies and diseases we didn't used to have. But those doctors came in amongst us and got that information and took it out and took it back to society and called it medicine, required you to get a license to practice it, to shut our people out, and then got in bed with pharmaceuticals to pump you full of a bunch of pills, half of which the pills are killing you. So there you have it. Oh my Lord! You remember me sharing that story, Doctor? That's the truth. That's the truth. That man sent that man out in the field, and he came back. And when I tell you, I was healed. I was healed. So all of these, and I'm going to wrap it up. All of these are things that I feel like we need to know. All of these are areas that we need to understand. And for all practical purposes, it sounds like my mother's mother was a root worker. And she was known to have healing remedies. And when she was sick, the people in the community came to her to be healed. So, and my mother talked about all the different teas and remedies and this and that and the other, what she used for the children and so on and so forth. So these are the areas that, as at the end of the day, and then of course, even in that, a lot of those were family members, because that back in those days, they lived in extended family situations, which was powerful too. So many things we've lost, so many things we've lost, so many things we've changed and exchanged to integrate into this system and to this society. And we're still struggling and we're still fighting, because every time you learn one rule to the game, they change the game or change the rules or both. So my thing, please tell your story. Tell your story and know who you are. I need to come back and say good evening to everybody, because listen, I done talked almost a whole nother 15 minutes since I realized I ran over. I hope this has not offended anyone. But if you, I can't say I'm sorry. I really can't say I'm sorry. It's not gonna let me go all the way back to the top. Is it? It's not. Dr. Dady, I love you so much. Thank you for coming in. Dalen 628. I saw N Cookies in here for a minute. Flirt, I see you. Truck driver, I love you. C Love 702. Thank you for coming in. Dr. Dady Priest, Cassandra Isaiah, come on in here. Nothing but mad love to you. One reason the Bishop of Twitch and N Cookies came in for a minute. So much love to you. Thank you for coming in and thank you for listening. I'm coming on down. I hope and pray I have not overlooked anyone that's in or been in this chat, because I appreciate every last one of you. I'm going real fast. Plus, it won't let me go back up to the earlier. So I'm trying to go a little bit. Flirt, if I did miss you, thank you for being here. Nothing but mad love to you as well. I hope DJ Rock and Ron, he was here at the very beginning. He may have gone, but he was here at the very beginning. I know. And I want to call his name to all of you, my father's children, my sisters and my brothers and my friends. I love you so much. I really do. Thank you for coming on in here. I appreciate you. DJ, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Dady. You're helping me. Truck driver, DJ Rock and Ron, thank you all for being here. I hope this has blessed you. This probably wasn't what you were expecting in reminiscing and going back to review the history of the children of Israel being brought out of the land of Egypt. Now, we're getting ready to go into the promised land with Joshua. Moses, my servant, is dead. We've already covered all of that. Thank you, Dr. Dady. But I hope that you can take the essence. Truck driver, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. I hope you can take the essence of what I'm saying and take it to heart. And it's spiritual. Don't think I'm being carnal. Don't think that I'm just, we just going to have this kind of conversation in retaliation against what's going on in our country, right? No, we should have been doing it all along. And as Dr. Dady said earlier, this may be just what it takes to get us back to who we are, who we were, to take us back to some of those things that we've relinquished and let go of and been told was evil and not of God and and we bought it hook, line, and sinker, unfortunately. But let us rise up. Let us rise. Oh, C Love, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. I appreciate you. Let us rise up. And this is our finest hour. And as I say that, hear me when I say there's not an inch of my body, nowhere in my bones or in my flesh do I feel like we are about to be overtaken. I feel like this is our finest hour. I feel like this is the season and the time for us to come together. Oh my God. The unity is so key. The unity is so critical right now. It's so critical. Let us come together and let's do this because we've got a work to do. I love you guys. You know that I do. As I always like to leave before we leave out of here, take all of this to heart. Ponder it in your heart. Overtaking where regulators, regulators, mount up. Come on, Dr. Dady. Come on. It's our time. It's our time. Listen, it's time for us to rise up. I'm trying to tell you. And be who we were created to be. And there's greatness in us. Don't let anybody make us feel like we're second class, second rate in any way, shape, or form. And while we're out here, let's go. See, love, let's go. While we're out here pushing and propagating everybody else, I love them too. But I'm concerned about my house. All right. I'm concerned about my house, my place of dwelling. And I love everybody, but we're going to win. We are winners. I love you with the love of God, and I want you to have peace for your journey.